experiment to do with the atmosphere. So we're talking about topic 1, changes in the atmosphere, and what we're measuring is oxygen. Okay? The apparatus that you need are your clamp stand, your clamp and the boss, a test tube, a beaker, a glass rod, and iron wool. Why are we using iron wool instead of a solid piece of metal? That may come up as a question, and the answer is to increase the surface area, okay, so that it will react faster. That's very important, you need to remember that. Right, so how you set it up is as follows. You take your iron wool, and remember, for rusting, which is corrosion, you need water and oxygen. Water acts as the catalyst, oxygen is in the reaction. Okay, so it needs to be wet. So we're going to wet our iron wool and then pop it in the test tube. You use a glass rod to push it to the end. And then in this beaker you would have water. Okay, you put the test tube in the beaker, allowing some water to go into the test tube. And you would mark the level at which the water has gone up to the test tube, okay? You clamp it in position. And then you would leave it for a week for rusting to happen, because remember, rusting isn't an immediate reaction, it takes time, okay? Now what would we expect to happen with this experiment? Obviously you can't see it because I don't have a week to leave it, guys. So what would happen is iron oxide is formed with the iron wool. The oxygen that is in the test tube would react with the iron wool. Remember that you would only expect 21% of the oxygen in this test tube to react, because 21% is the amount of oxygen that is in the atmosphere, and this test tube is simulating how much, is simulating a mini atmosphere, okay? So the oxygen is being taken as gas into iron oxide, which is a solid, all right? So the amount of gas inside this test tube is reduced, most probably by 21%, if your experiment has been accurate. So what you would expect to see is the water from this beaker rising into the test tube. That's why you mark it at the beginning. And then when you look at your results, you look at how much the water has risen, and that is how much oxygen has been used up by this iron wool. Okay, control variables for this experiment: the weight of the iron wool, the amount of water, the equipment, the temperature that the equipment is at. Remember, we want it to be at room temperature because gases have more energy, particles have more energy, and they would increase the volume if we heated it up, or if we measured it at a different temperature. Alright, so the basics that you need to remember are the oxygen in the test tube is moving from a gas to a solid, and that removes gas from this test tube, sucking up water, which you can then measure. Reasons that you might get more than or less than 21% of oxygen reacting with the iron, okay? Reasons are: all of the iron wool might not have reacted. It might be an excess, okay? All of the oxygen might not have reacted by the time you have results. Water may have evaporated from the beaker, which changes your results because water is being taken out, okay? Gas may have somehow leaked from your test tube also. And that's your oxygen in the atmosphere experiment. Remember, they may not use this exact experiment, they may use the one with the syringes. It's exactly the same concept, all right? So you should have no problems with this one. Thank you.